Here today with Nikon Z5 and the 50mm f1.8s. Decided to pick this up in addition to the 24 to 50 kit lens. Larger aperture range, just in general, should be better for focusing and all that. But I'll find out today and in the future. I'm in aperture priority at the moment, so I'll just be adjusting it in that way. As simple as possible. The Z5 was hitting low light mode right there, focusing on the trees. Obviously in these situations, it's so bright out, should have good autofocus. Let's go in here. I don't have bug spray on. It's not the best spot to be hanging out. For this lens, I might be having some people photography coming up in the future. Wanted something for this camera that would give me a lot of options, especially like eye autofocus. Of course, the kit lens probably works okay, but 50mm f6.3 on that kit lens is not amazing. I do use it at 24 quite a bit. In this case, the 51.8 should help out. Okay, this is the path that I was looking for. Let's get out of here. So many bugs. It's a bad idea. As well, the minimum phase detect autofocus area on the Z cameras is pretty large, which is a negative in my opinion. It does have a small focus area, but it uses contrast-based focus on that. Wish I had a fast way of resetting the aperture. Minimum focus distance is not great. Well, I guess it is okay. Another reason I picked this up, I'm curious to see if I use the M50 and the 32mm f1.4 compared to this Z5 and the 51.8s. See what the differences are and image quality and what you can get out of either depending on the situation. Like minimum focus distance, the 32 is good at that. This one probably not so much. Having 1/8,000th of a second maximum shutter speed on this camera is nice with those wider aperture lenses in great conditions. Definitely helps out. The front element on this lens is a bowl shape. I probably have a filter for it. It's a 62mm. To adjust focus on this camera, you've got the little joypad stick, nub, whatever you want to call it. And you press the OK button to recenter. There might be a way to adjust things, I'm not sure, but it works relatively well. I'm still getting that low light autofocus thing right here. It's strange. Size-wise, it's a decent size for the camera. It's got a little bit of weight to it. But the build materials and such have it feel slightly hollow. It's not a super dense, heavy lens. You might think having a prime lens is not as versatile as a kit lens. Of course, you do miss out on the focal length, but you get the larger aperture. A little bit of movement can be just as good as the zoom sometimes. So far, this one is better with autofocus than the kit lens. I'm going to switch to pinpoint autofocus. It is struggling with the pinpoint autofocus more so than the phase detect, clearly. But the wind, the combination of all that, probably is not good for contrast-based autofocus systems in general. Birds are not thrilled I'm hanging out. If you want the best autofocus system right now, I'd say go for the Canon or the Sony cameras. This definitely is not perfect, but I will be curious to see how it does with people photos, situations. This lens is not cheap, but it's not the most expensive thing ever. Start with this, see how it goes. The main reason I did get the Z5 was for manual glass adapting lenses. In that case, it's good ergonomics, great viewfinder, low price, so definitely some benefits to it. Dual card slots, all that. Okay, I'm getting out of pinpoint autofocus. Just switched to AFC mode, single point autofocus. I do notice a quirk already with that is that the focal box, it doesn't change or indicate any type of focus happening. And the lens, at least right now, is quiet enough that it's not making any noise that I can hear. The design philosophy of not having any indicator of focus, not so good. I can see on the screen when it's defocused, either forward or backward. You can obviously tell when it changes, but they need some type of indicator to signify something is happening when you're relatively close. I just noticed there's like a little burst when you press the button, which I guess is what they consider indication. Seems okay. There are quirks already, I can tell. Obviously, this is not a great situation to be trying because of the wind, moving the subjects around, but it's a good test. This lens hood is a little thin, plasticky. At the very least, the viewfinder is decently high resolution. I can tell when it is, or at least close to being where it should be to focus. That was fun. Lots of wind. Works pretty well. See ya.